Hello and welcome back to How to Use a Windows Computer for Students. In this episode, I'll be talking about how to use Google Sheets, which allows you to make spreadsheets which you can use to either calculate data or make graphs. So the first thing we need to do is get to Google Sheets, which means we need to get to Google Drive. I already showed you how to do that in the last video. I'm not going to show you that again. So this time when you get to Google Drive, you want to hit the new and then you want to hit the Sheets, which has the screen icon here. And then you create a new document. The first thing you want to do when you create any new document and anything is you want to name it. In my case, I'm going to name this my experiment because I'm going to be plotting data from an experiment. Because if you leave everything as untitled document, then you're going to have a hard time finding it again if you need it later. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a data table. So plant one. So this is a hypothetical experiment where you tracked the growth of 3 different plants over 5 days, or rather over 15 days. 2, 3. So you're just typing here, and if you hit enter, you move down a cell. You could also move around the cells with the arrow keys like this. So, and then day 0, or day 0, day 5. Since in this hypothetical experiment you didn't take measurements every day, you're just going to get a few points over the duration of the experiment. Day 10, and then day 15. And then, so then this is going to be height, 0.0, 0.0, 0. And day 5, let's say this plant was 1.3 centimeters tall. This plant was 2 centimeters tall. And this plant was 1 centimeter tall. Okay, now maybe by day 10, this plant was 3.8 centimeters tall, and this plant was only 3.5. This plant jumped up to 4. And then basically you do this with any data that you had from your experiment. You can relabel these axes to these tables to be whatever you want. Like instead of tracking height, you could be tracking temperature. Or you could be tracking, like say, if you're doing a long-term experiment, you could see how much fruit different plants sprout or how many seeds sprout from a set number. Okay. And so now we got a table. We can do a few other things, like we select this, right click. We can, wait, no, that's not how you do it here. Select this. Oh wait, this button, merge cells. Merge it together, and then you can title this graph like the effect of time on plant growth. And there we have a nice title, and we can even center it by doing that. Let me actually make this full screen so it's easier to see everything. And so then the next thing you want to do, what you can do with this data is like, this is great, but if you want something more visually exciting, you can make a graph out of it. And what you have to do is you have to highlight it, and then click Insert Chart. And because we're doing something over time, you want a line graph. So you want to go to Chart Types, and you hit Line. Wait. You may have to use the switch rows and columns thing, depending on how you set up your data. And then you get a line graph. And then the few things you may have to do, like for example, that title does not work. I have to change it to the effect of time on the growth and also you want to make sure you capitalize the letters of all the major words. You don't have to capitalize words like of or the, but words like growth, even time, could give us a title more professional appearance. And then you can decide where the legend is. The legend is this right here, so if I want it to be on the bottom, which I think actually looks pretty good in this case. And then the next thing you may want to do is get axis labels. So we're going to label the horizontal axis time in days. I'll have to adjust that, and you see there it appears. Now left vertical axis, we're going to adjust that as height in centimeters. And this gives your graph a very professional appearance, makes the graph very easy to read. If you're working on a science fair project, someone can go to your board, look at this graph, and immediately understand your data, at least to a certain extent. And then you'll see there you get your chart. And I'm actually going to make a change to it. We're going to just change this to numbers so it doesn't say day at the bottom, because we already have established in our legend that we're dealing with days. And then now there we have numbers. It'll show you like over days, like you may actually want to change this. Number 0 max 15 or 20, because generally you want whole numbers. And then actually let's just extend the data into day 20. So say after day 20 this plant was 9.6 centimeters tall. This plant was 8.4, and this plant was just a solid 8. And then if we did the chart, and then if we went into quick edit mode here by mousing over the chart, clicking on the, and then if you right click on the chart, you can edit change it. You can go into advanced edit, which gives you all the same menus you had before. And then what you want to do here is, now you see these alphanumeric designations like A2 and E5. That's the cells. It's like this is A2, this is E5, but we have this new data that's not being shown in the chart because it's not in that range. So all I have to do is change this and then F5. And if we update it, then the data extends all the way to the edge because we added the data points for day 20. And it shows at the bottom, it shows the height, and there you have a very nice, fancy looking graph that doesn't take much time. But also some other things you can do, though. Like, if you type an equal sign in a box, then you'll get a whole bunch of things you can do based on typing on letters. Like I'm going to type in average, and then it'll give you parentheses, and you want to highlight all the cells that you want to operate that on. And you put a close parentheses, then you click out. I think I actually highlighted that wrong. I didn't want to highlight the top because that's a heading. So I want to change it to C3. And it gives you the average of that data, saying how on average what the average height between the 3 plants was. And then say if you need to do that for all of these for day 5, day 10, day 15, day 20, and day 0, you can just click this and you can just drag it to the side and it'll automatically adjust. Like this one, you'll notice it says average of C3 to C5, which is these 3 cells. This one says average D3 to D5, which is these cells. And then once again over here and once again over here. And even we can drag it over here. And it's going to average 0 because all 3 of these values are 0. Some other neat things you can do is if you want to change the size of your cells, you can click this. This will change the size of everything. Then you'll see it got a lot smaller. So if you don't need as much width to your cells, and you can also make rows taller by doing the same thing. And when you click this box up here, that'll change every column or row. However, you just want to make, say, column A wider, You just click on column A and then you hit mouse over the edge and then you move it left and right to change the size. Like I can make it really big, or I can make it small again. And then if you messed up and you want to make them all the same size again, you just do that, and then you're back where you started pretty much. It's also important to note that if we take this chart, we hit Control C, we can actually copy it. Which means that then if we go into Google Drive and make a new document, let's say results, if we're still working with an experiment here, let me click Control V. You can either link it. Linking is generally a good idea because that means if you update it in the spreadsheet, it'll be updated here too. So you generally want to link it, and then you hit paste. And then there's your chart. And then you can also type up like a summary of what the data means or whatever else the assignment asks of you. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.